PHI 203. You're welcome to study session 2, Morality. In this study session, we will look at what makes an issue a moral issue. We will also look at some of the reasons why one needs to be moral and problems with some of those reasons. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to 1. Describe moral issues. 2. Justify reasons to act morally. Definition of moral issues. The way we talk about moral issues usually suggests that we are duty-bound, expected, obliged, or required to do what is morally good or morally praiseworthy in order to be acceptable to other people. Apart from the fact that we have been told to be morally right from when we were growing up, many of us do not bother to ask ourselves the important ethical question of why we should be moral. A reflection on this question will require that we look at what makes an issue a moral one. And in the same vein, this will also enable us to look at some important reasons why we need to be moral. In the first place, it is necessary to determine what makes an action right, what makes an action wrong, and what makes an action to be neither wrong nor right. What makes an issue a moral issue? An issue is a moral issue if the reason why people view it differently is a function of what they believe rather than what they prefer. In considering a moral issue, belief rather than preference dominates. This is the reason why even if two persons hold opposing views about the issue at hand, their point of disagreement usually stems from their irreconcilable beliefs. For example, at a point in history, the people of Calabar in Nigeria were killing their twin children. They were not doing this all because they wanted to, felt like they should, or preferred to do it, but just because of their belief that twins were evil. When Mary Slessor came to Africa and saw the people killing their twins, she corrected them from the standpoint of her own belief and was successful in addressing the issue because she corrected their beliefs. An issue is a moral issue if the issue brings about or generates a special kind of feelings. Moral issues are those that elicit certain kinds of feelings and reactions from people. Such feelings and reactions are different from, but in some respects, similar to, those elicited by some other experiences like religion, aesthetics, cognition, learning, and knowledge. In other words, moral issues are those that are capable of generating such feelings as feelings of justification, satisfaction, and commendation, or feelings of shame, regret, remorse, and guilt. Furthermore, a moral issue is that which involves, in many cases, actions that affect other people. In the course of our interactions with people around us, and now with the help of devices like mobile phones and computers, even with people in far places, we are expected to behave in certain ways. The reason for this is that we necessarily live in societies and cannot live alone. Put differently, since humans are by nature social animals, certain issues necessarily come up as a result of their social interactions, which are moral issues. Lastly, moral issues are those that can potentially or even actually help or hurt other people as well as ourselves. In other words, moral issues are those issues that are not only capable of hurting people physically but can hurt them emotionally. For example, even an issue that seems to concern only one person, take suicide as an example, still ends up affecting other people because family members and friends of someone will mourn if the person takes a life. Having examined the various features of moral issues, it is important at this point to look at the reasons why it is important to be moral. Why should I be moral? There are many reasons usually given why one needs to be moral. The reasons include the divine command reason. One important reason commonly given why we need to act morally is that which argues that in order for us to please God, we must do what God commands. Meanwhile, for many adherents of this position, it is held that what God commands is that we should act in such a way that other human beings are shown kindness and not intentionally hurt or destroyed. Furthermore, it is stated as a means of supporting this position that God will reward those who act in line with His directives, and that He will punish those who go against what He commands. However, as it is important to point out that in spite of the fact that the divine command reason seems so persuasive, it is not without some problems. First, a supporter of this reason will have to prove it that there is actually God and that He is powerful enough to punish or reward people. Also, since this reason, in most cases, is based on a premise that assumes morality, someone who holds this reason will also be confronted with the problem of proving the idea that man actually survives death. Benefits of morality to the moral agent reason. Another reason that is widespread, especially in Africa, is that which holds that eventually the nature of this world is such that good things will come or happen to a moral person, while evil will happen to an immoral person. Among Yoruba people in southwestern Nigeria, for instance, it is a popular saying that Ika konika, rere abeni rere. This Yoruba saying translates as evil will come upon the wicked, while goodness will come to some that are good. In the same vein, among some Asian people, there is a notion known as the law of karma. This is a universal law that is believed to make sure that everyone reaps what she sows. Just like we have seen in our consideration of the divine command reason, the view that what one does will eventually happen to one also has some problems. Experiences have shown some of the times that bad things sometimes happen to good people. Meanwhile, a response to this objection is that eventually some who does good will still see that it pays to be good, because in the meantime she will be compensated for whatever misfortune she has suffered. Fairness and common interest reason. This reason holds that since human beings live in groups called societies, it is in our mutual interest to be moral. It is argued that for us to live meaningfully, we must live together in peace and harmony. However, living in peace and harmony will be unattainable unless we resolve to live morally. It is explained that if you act the way you like, even if what you like is immoral, and I do the same, how and when I like it, then survival will be unbearable, if not totally impossible. This seems to be a very remarkable reason why we need to act morally. This is because there is hardly anybody in his right mind who will not want to live meaningfully and peacefully. Even those who do evil still desire a level of adherence to moral rules from other people. Like Yoruba people say, "Abẹ́ni lórí kì í fẹ́ ká mú idà kọjá lórí òun," which means someone whose duty is to behead cannot even allow a sword to pass near his head in all. The fairness reason seems to be the most plausible reason of the reasons that we have examined so far. Morality is right reason, that is, based on synthetic a priori. This is a reason for morality that follows a line of argument similar to that put up by Immanuel Kant. in arguing for its categorical imperative. According to this line of reason, in order for morality to retain its meaning, we have to act morally. What this means is that if we keep acting against standards of good moral conduct, morality will soon lose its meaning. An implication of this is that at this point, it will become self-contradictory to use the word morality. This is because nobody will take anybody serious again whenever the word is used. Put simply, therefore, this reason posits that good sense requires that we act morally, and that acting immorally implies that one goes against the stipulations of good sense. For example, if a moral rule that it is good to be kind is repeatedly violated, it will get to a time that the word kindness will no longer be meaningful because nobody will believe it again when someone talks about it. Study session summary. In this study session, we examine the basic features of moral issues. The first feature of moral issues is that moral issues are those which involve a difference of belief and not a matter of preference. Also, moral issues are those which involve a specific kind of experience. The third feature of moral issues is that moral issues are those which involve a specific kind of situation, that is, such acts as those that affect other people. We identified in the course of this study session that reasons to be moral include the fact that God demands that we should be moral. Finally, it is argued that we need to be moral because morality is right. It pays a moral agent, and that it is needed for the purpose of fairness. We have now come to the end of study session 2. Thank you for listening.